Okay, so let's take a look at how you can install CentOS Linux on Google Cloud's Compute Engine VM. Right, so make sure to create a Google Cloud account, set up a project, enable the billing, and also you get 90 days of free trial. As you can see, I have mine one running right now. The next thing would be to go to your top menu, then product solutions and all products. Alternatively, you can also choose from the pinned option of compute engine where we can go to VM instance. Right, now the next thing would be to create the instance. Right, I have already one set up for SSH key. If you want, you can also do that if you are trying to connect through external services like, let's say, PuTTY or other SSH gen type of service. Right, so you can use your VM instance to either use your Google Cloud's SSH keys or the keys that you want to use through external means. Both of those options are available. Right, now the next thing, click on create instance. Right, while we are creating the instance, to note that by default Google Cloud will allow you to use its own to generate, or you can paste as well. I will type in the name of instance, so let's say Dev CentOS. Then I will pick the region. As you can see, the region here is cheaper, so I will pick this one. Currently the Asian one and European seems to be at higher cost, which you can verify as well. So I will be picking this one, 28.65 monthly or 0.04 hourly. Right, then we pick the machine. So if you pick general purpose, then it will pick the series of CPUs C3 to N2 and T2A, T2D and N1. Right, similar to that, there will be also machine types where you can select micro, small and medium set of CPUs. Then comes display device, which you can enable disable, and also the confidential VM service, which you can enable disable. Also there is a container option which you can enable and disable, where you can see the option to deploy the container. Right, now the boot disk option is something you have to look for. Click on change. Here I'll be changing this to CentOS. You pick the version from the list. In my case it's CentOS x86 64 stream 9. Next is choosing the disk size, which is 20 GB in this case. Then comes identity and API access, where you can see the default service account that you can select. Then there is also access scopes, so I will choose the allow default access scope there. Then also option to choose firewall. Right, so once you allow HTTP and HTTPS traffic, you will be able to set your servers. While you have this enabled, it gets quickly enabled as well. Now notice that once we set things up, there is an increase in price. The reason being, the default 10 GB is replaced with 20 GB here, so that $1 becomes $2 and overall price increases here by 1. Now networking part, you can keep the default. If you want to change anything, you can do so. Then there is disk, we already selected 20 GB, which is good enough. Then comes the security part. As you can see, the VM is already done automatically by Google Cloud. Right, also some of the necessary features are enabled as well. Now let's click on management tab, where you can see you can enable deletion protection and also go with default management policies, including the metadata. So you can add your metadata items here. Right, I will be going with the default selected here. There is no sole tenancy here applicable for my VM instance as well. Right, so pretty much we have done the settings. I can go in depth for some if you need. For example, for networking, you can do the IP forwarding, which I haven't selected, and also you can choose the interface cards, choose the bandwidth, choose the interface, this, and so on. Like this, you can make changes, right? So apart from networking, you can also take a look at disks. So if I choose to add that, it will also increase overall cost, right? Now you will also ask me that whether we should go with particular set of CPU or so. I think 2 CPU and 4 GB memory is good enough for at least server editions of OSs, right? If you are picking up any desktop edition of Ubuntu or so, then in that case maybe you may have to watch out for the edition, right? So that will also increase the memory. For example, with 8 GB memory you will be able to run most of the Linux OSs without much issue. In case of Windows, I would recommend server edition to have 8 or 16 GB. However, as load increases, 8 GB is often going to create issues. So in that case you should go with 16 GB. Now that said and done, we can go to the bottom of this form and click on create instance. Now what will happen is when you click on create instance, it will create the instance of CentOS, also deploy it on the specific region data center, and it will return you with some message. So we will click on create instance, and once we do, it should take a bit of time, like 3 to 4 minutes. In some cases for server based OS, it will install a lot quickly. So we will wait for that. You will see the status running in this case. Now here you see the installation was quick and it managed to install our CentOS, right? So there is option to connect through SSH. So I can pick through browser window or on specific custom port or using provided private SSH key, right? There is also gcloud command to do that, and you can also use external SSH client like putty or any other that you know, right? So what I will do is I will just click on my instance of CentOS, right? And then we will take a look at the configuration that we made, and as you can see it says running, so we are good to machine type E2 medium Intel Broadwell, and you have your own IP address as well. So if you install server and then use this IP address, it will show you that particular web server is running on that IP address, right? You will also find other details related to interface, your CentOS image showing version 9, right? So we are pretty much ready for setup here. Now I will go to main dashboard of VM instance, and here I will use connect option. You can also do the same through going to its own dashboard, but I'll be doing it through main page. So opening it in new browser, so it is slowly loading. So our SSH in browser will load CentOS instance right here. So we'll be running few commands to test how CentOS works, right? So we will run some commands to test what is in the system. So let's wait for it to load our server terminal. So it will feel like you are using this on your own desktop something, but it's on server. As you can see, it is feeling like local terminal. So I will choose ls CPU, and there you go, it will show you the CPU version and all that, right over here. If I choose ls blk, it will show me the disk as well, right? And there are some other options, like let's say for checking out variety of features, like DMID code. You can also use host info. So not sure if that's the command for, okay, so that's not the command. in CentOS, but with other Linux it should work. In case of, let's see if it accepts sudo, there should be. So dmi decode, so dmi decode dash d system, and yes, we do have dmi decode, and it is getting the data related to system and showing me the version of my system and its all the respective serial number, product number, and so on. Right, so pretty much we have managed to test out our CentOS in few commands. It is installed through the Compute Engine's VM instance on Google Cloud Platform. Right, so I will exit and we are ready. So pretty much it is the goal that we wanted to achieve has been achieved through this process of creating an instance all the way to running the server instance within SSH in browser.